There's a saying out there that goes, real estate is simple, but it's not easy. And I couldn't agree more. With a business that has a failure rate of over 83% in the first 2 years, so many agents don't make it in this business because it really isn't an easy business. But the main reason why most agents flunk out in this business is because they do not build their business with a strong foundation. And a big part of that is due to our industry. When you get your license in many states and provinces, you're just thrown to the wolves to figure it out for yourself. And that's why I'm glad you guys are tuning in, because I hope that with today's video, we can help you build a solid foundation so you can have success in real estate moving forward. And if you're already an active agent, this is a great reminder to go back to some of the basics that will help lead you to a more consistent business. Welcome back to another episode of Manning Up After Dark on the Manning Up on Real Estate podcast. And yes, today we're going to be covering 7 key fundamentals that if you follow, you will have much higher success in real estate. Because at the end of the day, you need to have a strong foundation that you built your business on that will continue to help you succeed and grow. Now, before we get too deep into it, I want to give you guys a bit of an analogy. Let's imagine that you're building your dream home. You've made millions of dollars. You're ready to build that dream home. You're super excited, and you decide to hire a company, and they come in and they say, okay, great. We're going to start with your roof and we'll build it down. You think you're going to have success building your dream home? Likely not, because we all know that to build a house, we need to start with our foundation. But we don't think about the things that go into a foundation that lead to a successful build. Things such as, do we have the proper drainage around the property? Without the proper drainage, well, when it rains, we're going to have water in our basement. Have we built it level? Do we have the right structures in place that's going to hold up the entire house? You see, you can't build a dream home without a stable foundation, and you can't build a real estate business without the proper fundamentals in place that will lead you to your success. So moving forward after today's video, I want you to go back and really analyze your business based on these 7 key fundamentals and see, do you have a strong foundation, or are there things that you need to work on? And after we finish these 7 fundamentals, I want you to drop it in the comments. Let's have some vulnerability here and let me know what you need to work on after you hear these 7 fundamentals. So the first key fundamentals to having a strong foundation to your real estate business is business planning. I know it's not sexy. In fact, the rest of these 7 fundamentals is probably not going to sound that sexy. I'm not going to give you a CRM that's about to give you 100 leads coming in every single week. I'm not going to tell you a social media hack that's going to allow you to suddenly grow, but these are so important to having a strong foundation for your business. And again, it starts with a proper business plan. Drop it in the comments. Do you guys actually work a business plan if you're watching this? And what does it look like? How many pages is it? Doesn't matter how many pages necessarily. It doesn't matter where the business plan template comes from. The key thing is that you actually have a business plan and you actually utilize it. You fill it out and you live, eat, and breathe by that business plan. Now, for us on our team at the Kelly Fry team, we utilize the Glover business plan, which is a 14-page business plan. The more pages there are, the more you're planning, the bigger your business is probably going to be. If you're working on a 1-page business plan, at least you have something, I'll give you that, but you're probably going to have a 1-page based business. The more in detail that you can put into your business plan, the better it's going to be, and it will lead to higher success. Now, once you actually have your business plan, the question is, do you actually take the time to review it throughout the year, or do you write it once, put it in a drawer, and never see it again? The key thing when it comes to business planning is that it's not just about writing it out the first time. You got to break it out and review it and actually put it into your schedule when you're going to review it. Is it going to be monthly? Is it going to be weekly? Do you look at it every single day? Do you know where that business plan is right now? We really subscribe to a model where you write your business plan before the year starts. You really go into depth on how you're going to plan based on what happened last year, understanding that that's going to impact what's going to happen this year. And of course, as we start working that business plan, there's going to be some key moments that we're going to actually revamp that business plan. The first time is going to be at the halfway mark throughout the year. After you've done 6 months, you know what's working in your business plan in your market and what's not working out so well. So here's your opportunity to go in and scrap some things. This is not working. I'm going to fit this in. I'm going to try this out. This is working great. What can I do to now double down on that source? So having a moment to actually review it. Top agents out there will also then do a final quarter review of that and do a third business plan. They're going to say, okay, it's crunch time. We are in quarter 4 now. We've got 3 months left. What can I do to double down on areas that are working? What can I scrap? And what can I make sure that I can do in the last quarter to end the year strong and hit my goals? Key fundamental number 2 to having a strong, successful real estate business is having a numbers-based business. I know tracking numbers is not the sexiest thing, but it's one of the most important. That's why it's part of the 7 key fundamentals. Knowing your numbers every single year is going to help lead you to a stable business at the end of the day. That's right. That's what we want is stability. Most real estate agents out there have what we call roller coaster businesses. They are up some months and then they're down some months. Then they're up some months, then they're down. Some months they're making a lot of money. Other months they're making no money. It's really tough when you're running a roller coaster based business because you're not consistent and you don't understand that the numbers and what it's going to take to get you there will keep things consistent for you. So what kind of numbers should you be tracking? First and foremost is contacts. Yes, real estate is a contact sport. You have to go out and make contacts, but do you have a plan for how many contacts you're talking to daily? Are you only talking to 2 or 3 people a day? Or are you talking to 20 or 30 people a day? The agents who talk to the most amount of people daily are the ones that have the biggest amount of success. If you realize that you've only been talking to maybe 5 to 10 people every single day, maybe it's time to look into your business plan and how can you increase that? Start simple. Don't say if you're talking to 10 people, don't double it to 20 because you're probably not going to do it. Start smaller. Maybe you add 3 people a day that you're going to do. So instead of 10, you're doing 13 and then slowly increase that over time. This is a gradual process. You also want to track your appointments set. How many appointments in your contacts have you actually set an appointment to go and talk to? That's listing appointments set. That's buyer's appointments set. How many have you actually set to go on? The next metrics or the next number should be the appointments that you actually gone on. So did you set an appointment and did you actually go on that appointment? If you didn't go on that appointment, that's okay too, because we'll talk about conversions in a second. Finally, the last number you should be tracking is contracts signed. Did you get a listing appointment when you went on that appointment? Did you get a buyer agreement signed when you sat down and did your consultation? Tracking these 4 numbers at the bare minimum are very important is because it helps you to create conversions. When you understand what your conversions are, how many contacts it takes you to get an appointment set, how many appointments set to gone on and gone on to actual contracts signed, it allows you when you go back into your business plan to use these metrics and build out what your business is going to look like. If you have a goal to maybe let's do $150,000 a year, how many properties do I need to sell to get there? How many appointments do I need to go on because of my contract signed conversion? How many do I need to set because some fall through? And how many contacts is it going to take to get me there? So it's very important. If you want to have a successful real estate business, key number 2 is know your numbers. Live by a numbers-based business. The third key fundamental to running a successful real estate business is your sales skills. Yes, I said the dirty word sales. But at the end of the day, we are salespeople. No matter what you think, real estate is related to sales, and you need to understand that you are a salesperson. And in my opinion, probably one of the toughest sales jobs that are out there. However, if you look at what this business really entails, it really is just revolved around solving people's problem. Salesperson equals problem solver. So we're actually high paid problem solvers. But at the end of the day, that doesn't take away from the fact that you need to practice your skills. What are the skills that you need to build when it comes to being a successful real estate agent? At the end of the day, the number one skill that you need to learn is how you communicate with people, how you talk to people, the scripts that you use. People make decisions based on how you make them feel. How you make them feel is based on what you say to them, and what you say to them is built around the scripts that you understand. So how do you get good at scripts? How do you get good at building the skill of being a strong scripted agent? Well, first and foremost, you need to identify the scripts that you want to learn. What is your lead gen source? You should have a strong script for a lead gen source. Is it expireds? Is it going after for sale by owners? Is it open houses? Making sure that you have a strong script, number one. Then what you need to do is write out that script. The best way to do this is take 30 days in a row and write that script out every single day day, verbatim, word for word. The reason we want to do this is we want to start to internalize that script. So when we go out on appointments or we're talking to people, we have that script deep down ready to come out. The next thing you're going to do in the next 30 days is to chant that script. And it might sound cheesy, but I'm telling you, it works. Get in front of a mirror, stand in your office, whatever, grab your scripts and chant it out loud. Hi, I'm Realtor Cameron Manning. What this is going to do is it's going to help you to learn how to articulate that script. You've now memorized it by writing it out. You're now going to be able to articulate it because you're chanting it out loud. And then the final step to this, to really building and mastering your skills when it comes to being a real estate agent, is to have a role play partner. Role play it with someone in your office, role play it with your spouse, role play it with someone that's around. And the reason for this is because when you're just chanting the script, you're just doing it verbatim. But when you're role playing, that's when objections come in. That's when curveballs come in, and you can learn to be flexible, to move away from the script, handle objections, move back to the script, go towards your closes. So if you really want to build a strong, successful sales-based business, scripting and skill building is one of the most important keys that we can talk about. All 7 are important, but this is a very important one. So in your business plan, going back to what we said before, build it into your business plan to have key moments that you're going to script and role play. Now we move into number 4, probably one of the most important of all of the key fundamentals that we're talking about today. If you really want to have a successful real estate business, get right with number 4, and that is having a strong morning routine. Yes, having a strong morning routine is one of the key fundamentals that will help you have a consistent business. And we're going to talk about what constitutes a strong morning routine. We're not talking about rolling out of bed at 5 a.m. club. We're talking about having a proactive and productive morning routine that is consistent, that we do every single day. And when I talk about productive and proactive, we're talking about having things scheduled in that allows you to actually go out and build your business. You see, the thing is, the morning should be around building your business. It is not about servicing business. It's not about responding to that agent who's got questions about something that came up on an inspection. It's not about following up with that lead that had a question about something to do with the paperwork that they saw. It is about going out and finding new business. I've heard it different ways before. Such, for example, if you follow Ryan Serhant, he follows the finder, keeper, doer, where the morning is his finder time. He's finding new business. Now, in your morning routine, here's some things that you should consider putting in. 1, having some time to practice your skills. Practicing your skills, especially before you go out and start finding business, is going to help you be fresh and ready to go. You've just been practicing those scripts. You've had your role play done. Now you're ready to go out and put it into practice. Your lead generation that you do in the morning should be proactive versus passive. What do I mean by that? Well, 1, maybe look at doing some outbound calls. You're calling expired, you're calling for sale by owners. Maybe you're going out and door knocking. You're going out and trying to find business. You see a lot of people like doing the passive stuff. I'm gonna shoot this video and edit it and put it on Reels, and then I'm going to wait for someone to call me. I'm going to write an email that's going to be really well worded. And then once I send it out, people are going to call me. The most successful agents out there are having a productive and proactive approach to their mornings, going out and finding business every single day. Whereas if you run a passive business, what you're doing is you're really just leaving it up to chance, hoping that someone comes along and gives you that phone call and says, hey, I want to buy or sell. Also, when it comes to your morning routine, are you focused or are you distracted? You see, set up a moat around your lead generation time. Set a moat up around your focused time. So that way, no interruptions come in. You've got your phone on do not disturb. You make sure that people in your office know that you're in the middle of your lead gen and not to knock on the door. Maybe you work from home. Having something that makes sure that your family understands that now is not the time to come to me with anything unless it's an absolute emergency. The house is burning down, someone got hurt. If it's small things, it can wait till later. And honestly, once you get into this practice, you'll realize a lot of issues do solve themselves if you just put it off till later and make sure you focus on building your business. And one of my favorite things that I've ever heard, and it really resonates with me now, and I'm really focused on my own business, is that the minute you give up on your morning routine is the minute that you have given up on a check 60 to 90 days from now. So make sure you have a strong, consistent morning routine. Now, key fundamental number 5 for a successful real estate business is to have consistent and productive lead gen, which I did talk a lot about in your morning routine. Again, it's worth repeating that you need to have a strong and consistent lead gen strategy that goes out and gets business. If you are waiting for that phone to ring, you are likely not going to have near as much success as the guy in the next office that is cranking out the contacts. As I mentioned before, real estate is a contact sport. You need to go out and get contacts. If your business plan says that you need to make 20 contacts per day, you need to find a way to get in front of 20 people per day. Anything that you can do to get a response from a decision-making adult is considered a contact. So make sure your lead gen strategy is revolving around strategies that get you those contacts. Here's number 6 for the key fundamentals to running a strong real estate business is to have a structured and consistent value-based presentation. Now, no matter what you think, this business is always about being in presentation mode. You're either presenting when you're doing a listing appointment, you're going on a buyer's consultation, you're presenting an offer to another agent. We're always presenting. So we need to get really good and really dialed in when it comes to delivering value-based and consistent presentations. Part of that goes back to what we talked about before is building strong skills. You can practice a lot of this. And one of the key things that I think most presenters miss or most agents out there really don't understand is a presentation is not all about you doing this. Here's why my marketing is the best. Here's why my brokerage is amazing. Here's why working with me, you're going to absolutely love it. Great presentations out there should be about 90% asking questions and only 10% of you talking. You see, when you ask great questions, it's going to show your clients that you care about them. You care about why they're moving, where they're moving to, what's actually taking them there. One of my favorite things that I heard before is that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So we need to listen twice as much as we speak. So if we're asking great questions, we have to actively listen to the answers and then ask great questions again. The more questions you ask, the more it shows to your clients that you care. Now, of course, when it comes to presenting, there is a point in time where you need to talk, and that's why it's 90% questions and 10% talking. So you do need to get good at understanding the market and what's happening, how to pull and present comps, and how to articulate to a client why the comps and the markets mean towards whatever your end goal is, whether it's pricing a property, putting an offer in. So you absolutely have to build that skill of being able to interpret all the data that you're presenting. And of course, at some point, you do need to show your unique selling proposition, your unique value proposition, or UVP as it's called. There is a reason why you want them to work with you. So there will be a point in time in your presentation where you get that opportunity to show what your unique selling proposition is for them working with you. One of the big key things is sometimes that UVP is that you listen more than other agents out there and you're working towards their goals. And when you're finally done your presentation, you're finally getting towards the end, every strong value-based proposition should end with one of these 3 things. 1, close for a signature. If you're at a listing table, your job is to walk out of that listing appointment with a signature. If you're at a buyer's consultation, maybe it's 1, walking out with a signature on a buyer's agreement, or at least it's closing for the next steps. Hey, I'm going to put you in touch with my lender. They're going to get started on your qualification. Or maybe if you're looking to recruit someone or working with another agent, it could be to close for the next appointment. One of these 3 things need to happen, because if one of these 3 things don't happen, you have an 80% chance of losing that deal if you haven't done a proper close. So understanding that a consistent and strong value-based presentation is 90% listening, 10% talking, ends with a strong close, and has a ton of great questions making the client feel great, you are going to absolutely build a strong foundation under number 6. And the key fundamental for having a strong real estate business, number 7, is building resilience. There's a lot that flies at you in this business, and I get it. It could be maybe an inspection issue that comes up and the sellers don't want to move on their price, but the buyers really want this price reduction. It could be someone actually said that they're going to hire somebody else. Anything can happen in this business, but we have to be extremely resilient if we want to move forward. And I think the reason why 83% of agents do not succeed after the first 2 years is due to the lack of resilience that they've created. If you follow 1 through 6, that will help you build the resilience you need to have a strong business and a consistent business. But what are some other things that strong, resilient people understand? One, they have an unshakable belief that they need to get better. One of the number one things that strong agents I've seen out there in the market do is they are constantly attending trainings. They're constantly finding ways that they can be better at their craft. Maybe they're hosting a client event. How do they make their client event even better? What can they add? What should they subtract? Maybe they're working the expired listings. Is there a skill or is there a resource that they could add to increase their conversion on that? They're always seeking to be better. And part of that goes with the fact that they are coachable. I've worked with a lot of agents over the last decade, and I've coached a lot of agents as well. And one of the number one things that I have seen is if they're not coachable, they're likely not going to make it. If you give them some advice and they turn around and say why it's not going to work for them versus being open to implementing it, well, that is probably an indicator that they're not resilient. They don't like being told that something is not going well. They don't like trying new things. They're likely not going to build that resilience and be successful long term. Resilient agents out there, no matter what is happening in their personal life, what's happening in their business, what's happening in the moment, the minute that it counts, they're able to flip the switch. If I'm walking into a listing appointment, I'm going to flip that switch in my head and say, I am 100% present for these sellers. No matter what is happening in the background, I am focused on them. So being able to flip the switch at any moment is key. This also goes into the idea that you should also have a 5-minute memory. When stuff has gone wrong that you can't control, maybe something hasn't gone quite the way you wanted it to, having a 5-minute memory to think about it, reflect on it, and move on is absolutely going to be key to your success. And that's a big thing I've worked on over the last several years. A lot of people say in my office, they go, why aren't you still upset over that XYZ that just happened to you? And I say, because it's not going to serve me dwelling on it. I'm going to move on and go back to focusing on what needs to happen for me to be successful. And all of this will start to build emotional resilience. The more you build your emotional resilience, the more you're going to realize that, hey, a lot of what happens to you, it's just business. Move on and go build your absolute unreal life. And finally, to build resilience is also, and I kind of hinted at it before, it's having this unending belief that there's always more to learn and more to grow from. You want to be resilient, be coachable, be open, and go out and seek to learn as much as you can out there. And the more you do that and the more you implement, the more you're going to build that solid foundation so that you can get off the roller coaster that is real estate and stay on the consistent highway of generating leads, doing deals, and making money. And that's it. Those are the 7 key fundamentals to running a successful real estate business. These are going to help you build your foundation so you can be successful moving forward, no matter what life throws at you, no matter what's happening in the market. At the end of the day, the market is between these ears. It's in your mind. The more you understand that, the more you'll be successful. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I want you to drop some of your ahas. What are some of the things that you need to work on to start rebuilding or strengthening your foundation? Drop it below. Let's be vulnerable with each other. What can we do to help you? And if you'd like a template for an amazing business plan, in the comments as well, drop the word business plan and I'll make sure to reach out to you and get you that business plan. And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to do all the things the algorithm likes, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Take care.